What would you do if something was feeding on you every night, leaving painful, red marks all over your skin, and you had no idea what it was? Would you be able to rest easy, knowing that even experts couldn't explain what was happening? For weeks, Ethan had been living through a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. Every morning, he woke to new, painful bites scattered across his skin, on his arms, neck, and torso. The itching was unbearable, and the bites kept appearing, despite his efforts to find the source. At first, he thought it was a simple case of bedbugs, but after weeks of frustration and failed attempts to rid his home of the pests, he was left with more questions than answers. Ethan had tried everything to resolve the issue. He washed his sheets in hot water, vacuumed every corner of his bedroom, and sprayed insecticides around the room. Yet, the bites kept appearing, and each morning seemed to bring more of them. He was certain that bedbugs were the cause. What else could it possibly be? But the more he investigated, the more baffled he became. One particularly sleepless night, Ethan found himself standing by his bed, glaring at the mattress. He pulled back the sheets slowly, scanning every inch for any signs of movement. He searched carefully, inspecting the seams, but there was nothing. No bugs scurrying around, no blood spots, no signs of any kind of infestation. He pressed his face close, squinting into the darkness, but still, there was nothing. It was maddening. He knew something was feeding on him every night, but he couldn't see it, and the itching was relentless. At work, the situation was no better. He sat at his desk, distracted by the constant urge to scratch at his neck. His co-workers had started to notice, and some even asked if he was feeling okay. Ethan had tried researching online, hoping to confirm his suspicions about bedbugs, but everything he read led back to the same conclusion: bedbugs. Yet no matter how many traps he set or corners he inspected, he found no trace of the pests. It made no sense. If it was bedbugs, why hadn't he found any evidence of them by now? In a desperate bid to catch the culprit in the act, Ethan set up his phone to record while he slept. He positioned it carefully, ensuring it had a clear view of his pillow and the area around it. The next morning, he eagerly reviewed the footage, hoping to find the smoking gun that would explain the bites. The first few hours of footage showed nothing out of the ordinary, just Ethan tossing and turning in his sleep. But at around 3 a.m., something strange happened. His blanket shifted slightly, as if something had moved underneath it. Ethan couldn't make out any shape, just a vague ripple. He paused and zoomed in, but still, there was nothing visible. No bedbugs, no insects of any kind. The feeling, however, was unmistakable. Something was there, but it was either too small or too fast to see. Frustrated and desperate for answers, Ethan called an extermination company. He needed professionals who could find the source of the problem. When Carl, the exterminator, arrived, Ethan explained the situation. Carl listened patiently, making notes as Ethan spoke. The exterminator put on his gloves and began his inspection. He checked the mattress seams, pulled apart the bed frame, examined the headboard, baseboards, closet, and even the rugs. After nearly an hour of inspection, Carl shook his head, visibly puzzled. "I'm not finding any evidence of bedbugs," he said, his brow furrowing in confusion. "No droppings, no shells, no eggs. Are you sure the bites happen at night?" Ethan rubbed his neck in frustration. "Yes, every morning I wake up with new ones. They itch like crazy, and they look just like bedbug bites. What else could it be?" Carl scratched his chin thoughtfully. "Sometimes people mistake other insect bites for bedbugs. Could be fleas. Do you have any pets?" Ethan shook his head. "No pets, no recent travel, Just these damn bites that won't stop. Carl looked sympathetic. I could set some professional traps. See if we catch anything. If you're okay with it, I can leave them overnight and check back tomorrow. Hoping for answers, Ethan agreed that night he tried to sleep again, comforted by the idea that someone else was now involved in the search for the mysterious pest. But the itching came back, as always, relentless and maddening. By the time Carl returned the next day to check the traps, Ethan had barely slept. The exterminator inspected the traps, shaking his head in disbelief. Not a single catch. Carl said, "These traps are specifically designed to lure bedbugs. If they were here, we'd at least see one." Carl raised an eyebrow. "I might recommend you see a dermatologist. It could be a skin condition that looks like insect bites." Ethan felt his shoulders sag. He didn't want to hear this. He wanted answers, not more dead ends. But reluctantly, he made an appointment with the dermatologist. Dr. Bailey, the dermatologist, took a biopsy of one of Ethan's inflamed bites and promised to follow up with results. She prescribed a cream to alleviate the itching. For a brief moment, Ethan wondered if this was all just in his head or if his skin was flaring up for some unknown reason. But the bites were too distinct and the timing was too consistent. He waited anxiously for the test results. When Dr. Bailey called, she confirmed that the biopsy showed an inflammatory reaction consistent with insect bites, but no signs of a dermatological disease. "Something is definitely biting you, Ethan," she told him, "but I can't explain why no one has been able to find them." Ethan felt a chill as the words sank in. "Then why can't anyone find them?" Dr. Bailey hesitated before answering. "I'd like to refer you to an entomologist. We might be dealing with something less common than bedbugs. I have a colleague who specializes in medical mystery cases. If you're willing, I can set up an appointment." Although the idea of seeing an entomologist made him uneasy, Ethan agreed. Within a week, he found himself meeting Dr. Ching, a renowned entomologist known for consulting on rare cases. Dr. Ching reviewed the notes and listened attentively as Ethan explained the situation. "You're sure this is only happening in your home at night?" Dr. Ching asked. Ethan nodded. "Yes, it's only in my bedroom. I never get new bites when I stay at my parents' house or when I crash at a friend's place. It's only here." Dr. Ching seemed intrigued. "That suggests the source is localized. If it's not bedbugs, it could be something else entirely." Ethan felt a knot in his stomach. What could it possibly be? Dr. Ching assured him that he would conduct a thorough examination of his sleeping environment. Back at Ethan's apartment, Dr. Ching methodically inspected every corner of the bedroom. He examined the mattress, the bedding, the frame, and even took samples of dust and fibers from the mattress seams. As he worked, Ethan couldn't help but notice that Dr. Ching's posture stiffened when he lifted the corner of the mattress. The entomologist's breathing quickened slightly, but he said nothing. Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that Dr. Ching had found something. "Did you see something?" Ethan asked urgently. Dr. Ching paused and pursed his lips. "I'm not entirely sure. I saw something unusual. I'll need to analyze the samples under a microscope, but let's not jump to conclusions just yet." Ethan's heart sank. Another night of uncertainty lay ahead, but he understood the need for thoroughness. Dr. Ching left with his samples and promised to call when he had results. That night, Ethan abandoned his bed and slept on the living room couch, hoping for some relief. But when he woke up, his heart sank. New bites had appeared on his ankle, the angry red welts mocking him. Whatever was causing the bites had spread. It wasn't confined to his bed anymore. Ethan's mind raced with the horrifying realization that whatever it was relentless. As he sat there, rubbing his irritated skin. His phone buzzed. It was Dr. Ching. His voice was sharp and urgent. "Ethan, I need you to come to my lab immediately." Ethan's stomach churned. "Is it bad?" he asked, his voice trembling with dread. "I'll explain everything when you get here," Dr. Ching replied. Ethan's palms were clammy as he drove to the lab, his mind racing. What had Dr. Ching discovered? What had been feeding on him for weeks, undetected by all the experts? And most chilling of all, what was it?